My beautiful people, how are you? Today we are going to prepare Peruvian-style Lomo Saltado. This recipe is incredibly delicious, and in this video, we are going to try to make it as practical as possible so that you can enjoy this dish from the comfort of your home. If you want to know how we prepare it, then stay because we are starting right now. Here I have 750 grams of beef. It has to be loin, or you can also use one called flat iron steak, which is the one I am using, and it is a little cheaper. When cutting the meat, you have to look in which direction the meat fibers go and cut to the opposite side. What it will do is that the meat feels soft, that it loses less of its juiciness, and we will take out strips approximately 1 centimeter thick. Next we are going to cut the vegetables. We start with 3 tomatoes. Break in half. Along that half, we are going to take out another half. Remove the seeds and cut in half again. In total, we are going to get 8 pieces. We are also going to cut the onion in half lengthwise. We remove the ends and also the middle part. And like the tomato, we are going to remove 1 centimeter thick slices. We are going to separate the layers of the onion so that they remain loose. I am going to be using a whole onion. This recipe has Goya yellow hot pepper, which is an ingredient that cannot be missing. A star ingredient, but I couldn't find it here. So I had to improvise and bought this yellow pepper because there wasn't even orange pepper, which is the one that most resembles the Goya yellow hot pepper in color. So if you get the Goya yellow hot pepper, you will put one whole. One small, take out the seeds and breaks it or cuts it into thin strips, just like I am doing with this pepper. Of this pepper I am going to add only 1/3 part. We will roughly chop a bunch of cilantro. It is also known as culantro in Peru, and some say that the recipe for Lomo Saltado contains parsley and not cilantro. So I don't know, my friends. But since cilantro is what I like, I'm going to put that in it. If you like parsley, then add parsley. And finally, we are going to need a chive stem. We are going to occupy only the stem and the rest of the chives. I save it for any other recipe. I didn't realize that I didn't record when I was chopping the stem of the chives. But that's how it comes out. Is to just chop the greenest part, the chives. Since we have the vegetables ready, we will season the meat a little with finely minced garlic, black pepper and half a teaspoon of salt. We don't add a lot of salt because then we are going to add soy sauce, and that is already salty in itself. We stir the meat a little and put it on the stove over high heat. We heat a wok or pan, and when it is very hot, we add oil and let the oil continue to heat up even more. It's very popular and part of the tradition that the Lomo Saltado has to be flamed. I mean, the meat has to be flamed. That gives it a very special flavor. But in my case, I can't do it. My stove doesn't make it hotter either, and I know that many of you at home can't either. So don't worry if you can't flame it. If you can, then do it, and if not, there is no problem, because the recipe is still going to be delicious. In this oil, we are going to seal the meat. So that it is well sealed, we are going to do it in parts. In 3 parts, we put the first part and let it cook. Let it seal for about 1 minute. Remember that we are using the high heat, the highest the kitchen has. After that minute, we stir a little more so that the part that has not been sealed is sealed, and we are going to leave it here for about 40 seconds. Or 1 more minute. Now we are going to remove the meat by draining it from the oil, because we are going to use this same oil for the other 2 parts. When taking out the meat, we let the oil return to a high temperature. We left it there for about 30 seconds to warming up. Then we add the second part of meat and do the same thing we just did until we have finished with all the meat. In a clean pan, I'm going to mix the meat and vegetables. I let this pan heat up well, and once it is hot, we add a squirt of oil. I'm not occupying the pan where I sealed the meat because that one was a little burned. So it's best to take a clean one. Since the oil is steaming, I put the meat immediately and add the red onion and the Goya yellow hot pepper, in my case the paprika, over high heat. Let's sauté 40 seconds, maximum 1 minute. Next we are going to add the tomatoes and chives. We sauté another 40 seconds, and this has to be like this, because we want the vegetables to remain whole. To remain al dente. That's the secret of this Lomo Saltado. Now we add 30 milliliters of soy sauce or siao. 2 tablespoons. We also add 1.5 tablespoons of white wine vinegar or rice vinegar. And 30 milliliters of oyster sauce, for those who live in Sweden. This is how this product looks. We stir so that the sauce is mixed, and here everything is mixed. It's already taking shape. It looks delicious and smells delicious. I like that it has a little bit of sauce to wet the white rice. So I'm going to add half a cup of water to it. Or it can also be half a cup of beef broth, but without salt. This dish is almost ready. We are going to rectify the flavor if you need to add a little salt, and in my case I don't need to add anything else. And we top with cilantro or chopped parsley. Tell me, doesn't this look delicious? We stir a little more and take it out because you don't have to cook it more. The Peruvian Lomo Saltado is delicious, and in this homemade and express version it is also left for us to suck our fingers. I am going to accompany it as it should be accompanied with a white rice, fries, and a good sautéed Lomo Saltado with its proper sauce. My beautiful people, I hope you liked the recipe. Thank you for joining me once again in the good taste, and we will see you in another video. Goodbye.